driving around in your car.
Join Sports Skillet.
Just what it feels like.
So how do you like it?
So what is it? I'm curious.
You like it like this?
My God, do we love football.
Or like this?
I love the sport of baseball.
And what about this?
You can have a sports show without all the vicious talk.
Simple human decency.
Whatever it is that you like.
Yeah, I like chaos.
We've got it covered.
Right?
It's sports the way you like it.
My friends, you may not know this. It's got everything you want.
Local and national sports talk that's fresh, in season, and FDA approved. If it's hot, you'll find it cooking with Jeff, Jay, and Kelly. They don't just stir the pot, they add more flavor than the other guys. Get ready to dig in and taste some Sports Skillet.
Ooh, tastes good.
Right now.
And welcome back once again to the Sports Skillet live stream right here, emanating from the studios, the CSB studios in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I am Jay, and I'm joined in the studio, as always, by Jeff Scott.
Well, not always, but I try to get here as best I can.
And you do a pretty good job at doing that, Jeff.
Yeah, as long as my car doesn't blow up or family members go in the hospital. You understand that.
Exactly. Of course, my dad's been in the hospital since the end of October, getting an LVAD implanted, doing the rehab and recovery. So all our best to my dad, who's hopefully going to be shifted back to the rehab session of Abington Memorial Hospital in Abington, PA, any day now.
That's good.
So hopefully he goes back there real soon and starts his vigorous rehab every day like he was doing a few weeks ago. That is the hope for my dad going forward. But we're sorry for beginning the show a little bit late. I was editing some stuff, getting it ready for the show. But we are live, as always. And we want to encourage you to also check out our show on Fox Sports Radio 920 The Jersey. You can see the ad there at the bottom of the screen. Every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. we bring on great guests, as we do here on the live stream. It's a different show, different people in the studio. Jeff is always there, or mostly there. So
at least physically. Mentally,
yes.
That's another story.
Exactly. So a different flavor for the show on 920. My brother Jeff is there. Different people in the studio as well. So we want to encourage you to also go to our website, sportsskilletradio.com, download the app so you can listen to us wherever you happen to be. And also check out our social media sites, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and as well here on YouTube, so you don't miss any of the great content that we put out at Sports Skillet Radio. As always, we're going to bring into the conversation our good friend, our contributor, as always, Mr. Ken Moskowitz. Ken, how are you doing today?
How we doing, gentlemen?
We are doing great. Phillies are signing some free agents. Looking good. We got the Eagles win last week. So, as always, I want to ask you, how can people contact you on social media?
Absolutely. It's on Facebook, Ken Moskowitz, in parentheses, Crossing Guard Ken, and on both Twitter and Instagram, Skywarn Spotter Ken.
Awesome. So where would you like to start out this week, Ken? Eagles or Phillies?
Let's take it with the Phils.
All right. So the Phillies have been signing some free agents recently. They just signed Didi Gregorius. So that looks to me like Didi will be playing shortstop, which means our current shortstop will have to move probably over to second base or third base, with Scott Kingery now occupying the other base and opening up the outfield for Adam Hazley to be the Phillies' starting outfielder.
Which I agree with. I do agree with that. I also think too that with plenty of off season to go yet, I am also expecting, them to even possibly, talk to a few teams around the league that might very well be in need of a shortstop, possibly. Of course, there's, is there that possibility of us moving Segura? Well, it remains to be seen, but, but then again, you never know. So, the way it's all pointing to right now, it seems as if, yes, DD will be playing short. And like you said, Segura could very well be at second, Kingery at third. That's the way it seems like it. The slings and arrows are pointing right now. And yes, Adam Hazley as well. And I'm not 100% against that at all. I'll tell you, give that kid a chance. I think I think he'll shine. I think he will.
I think so too. He got his feet wet last week, last year, with the Phillies. So he saw some major league pitching. I think he has a chance to improve under the new coaching staff that has been brought in. Also, there's a $20 million outfielder that the Phillies are going to be looking to move as well, that the Phillies are not talking about. He's due a very big paycheck. I mean, Matt Clintock didn't mention that outfielder, I think you know who I'm talking about, at all during his press conference.
One Mr. Herrera.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, and now, see, this is the thing too, Jay and Jeff, where I was mentioning about, of course, the team, trying to explore, via phone calls with other teams in regards to Segura, because here's the thing, all right, between Segura and, from what I've read, between Segura and Herrera alone, it's to the tune of, I'd like to say it, between 20 and maybe 25 million as far as the tax threshold goes. So, if, and look, I get we didn't sign Cole. I get we didn't sign Strasburg. I get all that. Because, look, you know what? You got other. I'm sure. I haven't looked at any of the list. Moving forward, in as far as for 21 and that goes, and I get as to the reason why they all dropped too, because of the CBA coming up in 21 or 22, I believe it is. So, things have to move along, and I get all that. All right, but if you could free up. All right, but I knew for a fact too that I think we are close towards that tax threshold too.
Yes.
Even though money is not an issue with us, which I do get as well. But the thing is though, if you can help not paying that, whatever it is, the 50%, or 25%, whatever it is, the very first time around when you go over the tax threshold, all the better. So therefore, the Segura and Herrera alone, I'd like to go on a limb and say it's maybe 22 million between the two of them alone, like 22 million in tax threshold, as far as the taxes go. So, just my opinion, but if you were to free those two up alone, that would free up that threshold space too, to get you in some, comfy waters, if you will. But otherwise, I tell you, it's not a bad off season. There's a lot of off season to go yet, I think. So I think I think we're gonna be okay.
Yeah, there's still the trade with the Cubs that may come down. Of course, I think the difficulty with that is, of course, the trade with the Cubs depends on the ruling on their third baseman, whether he's going to be held to 2 years or he's going to be free after next season. So you're discussing compensation for the Cubs. So they're waiting for the arbitrator to rule on his case as to whether he's going to be held under contract for just this one season or he's under contract for this coming season and one more after. And that affects compensation as to how much the Cubs can ask for and expect to get back.
Right.
So that trade, is dependent on how an arbitrator rules. So that's going to take a little bit longer to come together unless the Cubs are real antsy and just want to get rid of their third baseman. So that's a trade that could come down with the future. I think the Phillies are still looking to enhance their bullpen a little bit. So they're still fishing around. Word just came down a little while ago that the Phillies have signed outfielder Matt Scherzer to a minor league contract with an invitation to spring training. He spent all last season in AAA, but he'll be considered for a bench bat coming, for the Phillies if they need one. To me, it looks like the Phillies are almost done with their spending in free agency. Like they're not going to sign anybody big at this point. It's all going to be these minor league contracts that they're going to be handing out. But you never know. Like you said, if there's a free agent out there and they can get them at an affordable rate, they may be able to work something out. They also have to figure in the contract for JT Realmuto in spring training. They got to project what his salary is going to be. So there's that going forward too. But they're filling in the bench, I think, a little bit, as we go along. They're, making all these little signings here and there, giving these guys a minor league contract with an invite to spring training and seeing how they work out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And also there's, I believe it was yesterday, if I read it correctly, Phil Gosselin is back once again too. So, and again, with the bench, utility men in the bench, I'm expecting Josh Harrison though, I think, to fulfill the role as far as our main bench guy / utility fielder goes. So but yeah, we do need those bench bats as well. So and always good to have that in late in games too. So yeah. I mean, look. From what I know of too, as well, as far as the free agents that are still out there yet, that are hanging in the balance, seeing where they may fall. Who was it? June, I believe it. June, if I'm going to pronounce it correctly, his last name June, and from the Dodgers, who I believe is a left-hander, as well as of course that young guy there in San Francisco, whose nickname goes by the name of Mad Bum. So
yes,
So I mean, I could see, I still could see one of them landing with us. Now I get it with all the with the past that they have as far as the injuries go and that too. But tell you, I could see one of them still. I could be wrong, but I could still see one of them landing with us. Now, would it be 5 years, $100 million, or just over that? The way they landed Zach Wheeler. Probably, you never know, but I don't think so. I mean, I could probably see one of them, possibly going maybe 3 at 75, or with maybe an option 4th, possibly. Time will tell. Time will tell. I mean, now getting back to Chris, to like Chris Bryant, for instance. Okay, and I know I mentioned this a couple weeks ago too, that I can, for the right chips that are, coming back to us in return, and of course vice versa, I could see us getting Chris Bryant. And why I say that is because, too, once he, that's on the idea, mind you, that the Cubs are just, like you say, they're antsy enough, which I also read, too, about Anthony Rizzo as well, despite his back issues. It looks like they're going in a totally different direction, if you ask me. The Chicago Cubs are, but so on the idea that if they're antsy enough that they're willing to unload Bryant, at a moment's notice, more or less, and of course for the right trips to be dealt, vice versa. I'll tell you, I could see us not only landing Bryant, but I've said this all along as well. I've always liked Bryant, okay? And no disrespect to, Josh Donaldson, who's, I believe, still out there yet. But yep. I think I could see Donaldson, though. The difference between the two, I could see Donaldson being what could be maybe, our third baseman for maybe what could be 3 years, as to where Bryant, and I believe I said this a couple weeks ago, I could see signing basically once he's into free agency, I could see us signing him for the rest of his career, more or less. I mean, because we do have that. Yes, we do have that stupid money, and I know we're not going to be, pretty much in a nutshell, signing any more players high end of free agency, but I could see it in another, what could be another year or what could be another 2 years with Chris Bryant. But, but Josh Donaldson, I could see him. I like Donaldson as well. But I just, for as far as long term, though, I just, I don't see Donaldson being long term rather than what I could see with Bryant.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I don't think the Phillies would go over the luxury. Here's the thing. The Phillies are right now as we discussed earlier, the Phillies right now are pushing up against the luxury tax. And I don't think the Phillies would go over the luxury tax for a Donaldson. Maybe they probably would for a Chris Bryant. But a Donaldson, I don't see them like, okay, if we sign this guy, because Donaldson's going to make a nice chunk of change going forward. He's going to get a decent contract. I don't expect him to get, one of these mega contracts that have been handed out recently, but he's still going to get a large chunk of money because he still has teams bidding on him. So my thought is that for the Phillies to sign him, they would have to go, whatever contract he's going to get will push them over the luxury tax. And when I'm Clintack and I'm going to Andy McPhail and the Phillies owner, and I'm saying, if we sign Donaldson, we're going over the luxury tax. I can see both of them pushing back and saying, no, for a 1-year deal, I'm not going over the luxury tax for him. Now, for a Chris Bryant, I think they probably would. But I don't see them doing that for a Donaldson, so I don't think the Phillies are going to be in play for him unless his ass comes way down.
Right, which I certainly do not see that anytime soon. So
yeah, so I agree I agree with you there. But Phillies are definitely improving, no doubt about it. I think they will go out and sign another starter. I think they are maintaining contact with some of the agents that are out there, and I think they're going to get like an innings eater guy, maybe like a Wade Miley or somebody that can come in that they know is durable, dependable, may have a low 4 ERA, something like that. That will eat up like a chunk of innings. That they know, okay, he may not be the best pitcher out there, like a 4, like a 3
like a Joe Blanton type.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. kind of like that can slot in behind our two big starters, Wheeler and Nola, and just eat up a chunk of innings. They know that he's going to be dependable. He may give up 3 or 4 runs a game, but they know he's going to pitch 6, maybe 7 innings a game, something like that. 3, 4 runs a game, but he will eat up a bunch of innings and maybe push Jake Arrieta down in the rotation to a number 4. Those two may battle for a 3 or 4 starter. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yep,
exactly.
And then have Eflin as your number 5, and you're good to go.
Barring any injuries of any type.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then you push Pivetta, and then you can either trade Pivetta or Vinny Velasquez, or push those guys into the bullpen. I think Vinny V will be in the bullpen. That's where if he's on the Phillies this year, I see Vinny V being in the bullpen.
And not only that, I do see him as well, and I know we've touched base on it too from time to time as well on the broadcast here and off, that not necessarily a closer, even though I still think after all these past couple of years, he can be and has that confidence, have the confidence that he can be, but more in the realm of what most likely would be of a J.C. Romero type, because he's got such a fastball on him still yet that 8th inning, maybe come into the 7th inning to knock out a few 2 batters or whatever, but 8th inning guy for sure.
Yep. And of course, MLB announced a little bit of rule change this coming year. The pitchers are going to have to stay in for at least 2 batters when they're brought in out of the bullpen. They're doing this to try and shorten up the game. Although last year, they tried different things with the relief pitchers, and for me, the big way of shortening the game, if they really want to do it, is just use the pitch clock. It's there. It's right in front of them. It's in the stadiums right now. They're not using it, but it's right there in front of them. Just use the pitch clock instead of requiring a reliever to pitch to 2 batters or 1 batter if it's the end of the inning and he gets them out. Just use the pitch clock. It's right there. It's being used in the minor leagues. It's in all the stadiums already. Just use the pitch clock. What do you think, Ken?
Well, me personally, I was always, I'm opposed to the pitch clock, because I don't know. I just think, depending upon who you have out there pitching, I mean, and if they're prone to, if they have a history of injuries, and especially of a long list, I mean, you're really taking a chance, I think. I was always, from the moment it was first mentioned, I'm thinking, what? I mean, look, I'm one of the ones out there that believes in the old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, that just, I mean, look, and I get some of the aspects of wanting to speed up the game and that, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I do agree with you, and it is that's more of the sensible way of going about it. But I mean, like I said, the pitch clock, though, in my opinion, I just I don't know. I guess it's just the old school in me, as far as the baseball, the old school way of playing / seeing a baseball game is with me. So.
And the other thing that came out of the winter meetings, Ken, is the fact that baseball has come to an agreement with the Players Association and the drug testing is being amended, and they've downgraded marijuana, and they put marijuana on the same level as alcohol. Basically, they will no longer test for marijuana. However, they've upped the opioids, and they will be testing for them now. Anything like cocaine and that type of thing, they will be testing for. So they came into an agreement with the Major League Baseball Players Association on that, and to me, that's a good move going forward.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it makes a lot of sense too, and especially with what's with what's been happening in the U.S. as far as the the big crisis, with
Yep.
the opioid addiction and
Yep.
that as well. So I mean, and especially when it comes to long, lengthy injuries in baseball too. I mean, look, there's a limit to what you should be taking and that, and as far as trying to make the pain subside, and I mean, I can go in a whole list for a whole
sure.
other day, but I mean, I think I agree with Major League Baseball with what they did yesterday.
Yeah, marijuana is now not what it was years ago. When I was growing up, it's becoming more mainstream, becoming more acceptable, that type of thing. So cheaper, there's pop-up stores, that are selling it now. So
Yeah, you need a license now and everything.
Yep.
It's like, wow.
That and not. I don't think it's totally 100% or 110% in the books per se yet, but I know there are. I don't know if it's states or whatever that I know that they've that there's somewhere or someplace that they've made it medical.
Yeah.
Medically use. For medical use, that is too.
Yep.
So. Which I'm all in, in agreement for. I mean, look, that would be a better, a better avenue as opposed to, as far as the overuse of opioids. So, I mean, I agree.
All right, flipping the script a little bit. Eagles get a much-needed win on Monday night against the Giants, although they had to go to overtime to get it. What are your thoughts from the Eagle-Giant game from Monday night?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the first half, and I had my doubts going into this game, too, as far as, as far as their overall play had gone within the last 2 to 3 weeks. And yeah, we know that Eli was at the helm for, on the other side there in New York. But and of course too, I was saying as well, you don't know what Eli you were getting. Were you going to get a real fresh Eli, or were you going to get an Eli with a thick coat of rust that he had to chip away with, and obviously he didn't have that rust at all. So, and I mean, he looked good. It wasn't magnificent numbers, but he did look good though. But and that was in the first half, mind you. But and of course there was just where was the energy? I mean, look, as far as the defensive side of the ball, I'm thinking, here we go, another repeat from the few highlights from the few times that I caught the game. I'm thinking, here we go again, low and deep in the zone. Not they're not a care in the world. And there you have, you'd have Barkley running, you'd have, have him throwing to, Slayton or whatever, Darius Slayton, Eli would. But then you had the second half. Now, and especially when it came towards, late in the game, that is, middle to late in the game. And I've said this all along, okay, and I've actually said it again this morning to a few of the dads that we were talking and chatting about the game from the other night. Said, look, in my opinion, Doug Peterson and Mike Groh last year, right before the game, maybe 2 games right before he got hurt in Dallas, you should have had that confidence right then and there and given him the full set of keys. Look what he did, gentlemen. Look what he did late in that game.
Yep.
Guess what? You gave him the full set of keys. And look, he managed to come up with at least the better part of, what are we talking, 5 to 8 different plays in one drive. I mean, had you done that, I don't care what anybody tells me, had you done that, Doug Peterson and Mike Groh, had you coaches both said just that, hand Carson the set of keys, and had that confidence, because you knew his knee was going to be fine. Yes, his back was a big question mark, and then once he got hurt in Dallas last year, I had a bit of a feeling that was going to be it. But now, had it been a different story last year, probably. Had we have made it back to the Super Bowl, that would have remained to be remain to be seen. But the whole point, though, if you have the full confidence, and if you're giving them $104 million or $102, whatever it is, just over $100 million in guaranteed money, I'm sorry, but you know what? You're doing that. Then you need to push the confidence on them and say, look, okay, you know what? We'll back you up if you need be. You yell for us via the earpiece, and we'll be right there. But otherwise, you're given the full set of keys. Here you go. And obviously, fast forward to this past Monday night, late in that game. Look at what he did. Look at what he did. It's amazing. Yes, did he look good overall in that game? In my opinion, no. But again, look what happens when you give full reign, full confidence, and say, look, you know what? Take charge. Because then if it all fails, then of course different avenues have to be met and taken and driven on and whatnot. But you gave him full reign, boy, and look at what happened.
And how about that Boston Scott appearing on the scene kind of out of nowhere? Saved the game for the Eagles.
I'll tell you. Really, in hindsight, why didn't he start the season for us? Why didn't he start the season?
Well, the reason being is because you had Darren Sproles at the time, Jordan Howard, of course, Miles Sanders. So you had the 3 running backs at the time. So, that's why he didn't start the season with us. But as guys started going down, I would have definitely given him a shot earlier.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, boy. I mean, I was just, mind you, I was commenting on Facebook, Scott, Boston, here we go.
Yep.
I mean, I'll tell you, gentlemen, and again, no disrespect to Doug Peterson, but, I think if you ask me, there's confidence, there's some type of, there's that luster in that confidence factor. They might feel confident in who they have starting.
Yeah.
So, but to me, it's just I don't know. It's just not enough. It's not enough. And had you been creative, or in this case, like I said, I don't even think it was the creativity of Mike Groh. I think the way I had seen it, and it looked like it was pretty much set in stone, you gave those keys to Carson, and look what he did. He managed to be creative.
Yeah.
Not Mike Groh.
Yeah, and they're going to need to be creative looking at their wide receivers for this week. Nelson Aguilar, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Robert David, and Greg Ward. So, yeah, they're going to need to be creative on offense to get some of these guys the ball, and hopefully one or two of those wide receivers. I know Greg Ward has been doing well. Carson Wentz just has to build a rapport with him.
Dude. He's not a bad little dude. Oh, Greg, he is great. He is really good, I think.
Yeah, the one guy I'm wanting to see off the practice squad, with all these injuries to the wide receiver position, the one guy that I wanted to see come off the practice squad was, let's see if he's still there, Marcon Michel. I wanted to see him get promoted. He did well in training camp, but for whatever reason can't get off the Eagles practice squad. I would like to see him get a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, why not at this point?
At this point, why not is right. I mean, it can't hurt. It can't hurt.
Exactly.
And and at the end of the day too, everybody, I know I'm happy as well, but I'm not fully ecstatic yet because of the fact that there's still three big, huge steps up that mountain to climb before we reach the top, meaning the playoff setting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for my sake as well as their, I hope they do get in. I really do. For all of what they've had happen to them this year, but I mean, and that put a little bit of a confidence booster from in my heart for them, and I hope they do. I hope they win these last 3 games. I really do, and I really want them the worst way to do it possible. To really say, you know what, we overcame it. Overcame it. But ladies and gentlemen, though, of Eagles Nation, it's one step at a time, though. It's really one step at a time. And these are not just little simple steps. These are major steps to climb that big mountain yet. So, and you really can't take, and I get it. They've had their issues, Washington has, but I wouldn't take them for granted yet.
Well, no, because you never know. The quarterback is a young quarterback trying to find his way in the NFL, trying to prove that he belongs in the NFL. Talking about Haskins there. So, he's trying to show not only the Redskins that he's their future quarterback, that he can do some things well, but also the NFL, because you're always playing not only for the team you're on, but for any team that might have interest in you. So Dwayne Haskins is going to come out and going to try and show everybody that he belongs in the NFL. But the Eagles playing at home against Washington, again, we're talking about one of these teams that...
In D.C., I thought.
Yes, they are going to D.C. You're right.
Right.
But the Philly going to D.C. Here's a team that's 3-10. If you're going to want to win the division, if you're going to want to be a playoff team, this is a team late in the season that you have, and you're fighting for the division. You're fighting for a playoff spot. This is a team that you have to go in there and beat. Division rival, you have no excuse for losing this game. You just don't. So you have to go in there and you have to win. That's the bottom line. And then come back and host the Dallas Cowboys a week from Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, and if you ask me too, I think they need to go into DC with the most aggressiveness possible too, because I'm expecting this team to, from the word go, ride the ship to the end of, of that game. You have to. You can't. I think you want to show Dallas. You want to show them highlight-wise that, look, you know what? We took care of Washington. 35 to 17.
Yep.
We took care of them easily. We handled them very easily. Okay, but this is what we did. Now be prepared because we're going to do it to you as well. You can't walk out of there. I don't think and especially with a 3-10 team, I don't think you can walk out of there, winning 17-10 or a 10-7 ball game. You can't walk out of there like that. You got to really be aggressive from the start, and especially with a team that, in my opinion, yes, I think, just like the Dolphins, I'm sure can as well, and they had already against us, that would be playing the part as a spoiler or spoilers. So you can't let them do that. You have to play very aggressive this weekend.
Well, I'll take, with the Eagles being as banged up as they are, I will take whatever victory I can get out of the Eagles at this point.
Which I get. Yes. Believe me, I agree with that as well. But I'm saying that because just for the simple fact that, again, look what Carson did late in that game. Mm-hmm. Take charge. Pump your fist. Squeeze those hands in the fist and take charge. That's what you got to do. And you can't play easy on these guys. You just can't.
Exactly. And here's the other thing too. Going into this game, when the Eagles come out of it, they play at 1:00, and then at around 4:00, I want to say. Yes,
4:25.
4:25. Cowboys host the Los Angeles Rams. The Cowboys have been playing as bad as the Eagles have recently, and at the end of Sunday, Eagles could be sitting alone in first place.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
Because L.A., the Rams have kind of gotten their feet underneath them again, have been playing a little bit better. So at the end of the Sunday, Eagles could be sitting alone in first place. And as we all know, Dallas has trouble beating teams with a winning record. Eagles would come in at 7-7, so they wouldn't exactly have a winning record, but they'd at least be 500. So, there's that stigma with the Cowboys again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, Ken, before we let you go, would you like to pick some NFL games for this weekend?
Let's do it indeed.
All right. So, this is going to be an interesting game. The Houston Texans at 8-5 are visiting the Tennessee Titans, who are also 8-5, Sunday at 1:00. Who do you have in that one?
I believe I have, believe it or not, the Titans in that one. I could see. Look, I could see the Texans. I don't know. I could see them sort of getting their feet underneath them. I think, but I can't see them this week. I think I could see it maybe next week with them. But they haven't really lost games by a wide margin, not counting the one, from a couple weeks back against Baltimore. But the last two games that they've been relatively close. So, but I have a feeling this might be a close one as well. But I think again they're going to fall short, though.
I have the same team. I have chosen the Titans as well in this one. Battle for a top draft pick. The Miami Dolphins are visiting the New York Giants.
Oh, that's a good one right there.
I do. You know what? Look, I was expecting Ryan Fitzpatrick to pick the Jets apart in the game last week. I think he put up fairly decent numbers, I believe it was, but nowhere near what he did against us in Miami. But I do think this week, though, I think he will pick the Giants apart, though. I really do.
Gotcha. And I have them as well, I believe. Yes, I do. So another game that could be a sneaky game. Denver has been playing a little bit better as of late. So the Denver Broncos, who are 5-8, are going up against Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 9-4. How do you like that game coming out?
I know. I believe I do have Kansas City in that one. I mean, I'm always picking, usually almost 95% of the time picking Andy Reid, but I think I do have the Chiefs. It'll either be a close game or it'll either be, not necessarily a full-blown blowout, but I think it'll be somewhat of a semi, though, if Kansas City can really, nip it in the bud early enough against Denver. Even though, yes, Denver and some of those picks that I picked against them, I'm thinking, wow, if I could only pick them back now. But yeah, Kansas City, I think, will edge them out.
And here's another sneaky game there. The Chicago Bears, who are 7-6, are playing for their playoff lives, going into Green Bay to face the Packers, who are 10-3. How do you like this one coming out?
Yeah, Green Bay, I think, has been, been playing a little bit better since of late too, since that major loss against the Niners. I believe I have Green Bay in that one.
I actually went with Chicago in this one just because they were playing for their playoff lives. Mitch Trubisky is looking a little bit better in his past couple of games that he's been playing, so maybe he and the head coach of the Bears have kind of come together a little bit and have found some synergy to how he's being used. So I kind of took the Bears for my upset this week.
Okay. I could see it.
We also have, let's see here. Let's see, Atlanta's going to be out. Let's go with that LA-Dallas game. How do you think that one's going to come out? Rams at Cowboys.
What is it? The Cowboys have lost, what is it now? 3 in a row, 4 in a row?
Yeah, I believe so. Let's see if it'll show me.
It'll be
straight 3. It'll be 3 in a row going into this game.
Okay, it'll be 4 in a row. It'll be 4. It'll be 4. Even though they're in Dallas, it'll be 4.
Gotcha. I kind of agree with you on that one. Buffalo Bills, who are 9-4, taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh, who are 8-5. How do you see that one coming out?
Should be a really. I'll tell you what. I don't think it may not necessarily be dubbed as because I know I believe it's CBS game, but I believe, right? If I'm not mistaken, yeah, I believe it's a CBS game.
Sunday at 8:20.
Oh no, NBC game.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So yes, it is actually the national game. So it should be an interesting matchup. I mean, but I just see the Bills, a tad stronger, on both sides of the ball more than I really do with Pittsburgh. I've been a little shaky since that big huge debacle between Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
Yeah.
I've been a little hesitant about Pittsburgh lately. I just, for some reason, I don't know. But I do see the Bills though coming out on the winning end of this.
I chose the Bills too, and finally we got Monday at 8:15. The Indianapolis Colts and our old coach Frank Reich going to New Orleans to face the Saints, who are 10-3. Any chance for the Colts pulling an upset in this one?
I can see that. I can see that happening. I mean, and again, this is one of those games in which it really should be a really, really good game, I think. Otherwise, I do see another thrilling victory no, they didn't win last week, but I do see another thrilling game though. But this time with the Saints coming out on top, and maybe only by 3 even.
I got the Saints as well. Ken, any final, or you have something to say, Jeff?
I was going to say, well, the reason why the Saints are winning is because, well, they have voodoo on their side. I mean, New Orleans.
Hey, they have all that karma and Drew Brees.
Yeah, I noticed they have voodoo dolls in their merch. I'm like, hey, I should get one of those.
Hey, I think that would be.
Take this, Wentz. How do you like
No,
that?
no,
Oh my God.
no, not to Wentz. We want to build up Wentz.
That'll build him up.
No,
Get him hurt, he comes back stronger.
no.
We have the
He
technology.
should already be stronger.
It's because he gave that curse to. Never mind. I'm not going to say it again. I'm not going to mention Foles. Whoops.
But any final words, Ken, before we let you go?
No, except for the sad news that I did read in regards to Danny Aiello. What an actor, boy, and one of the most beloved actors in recent memory, and Godfather 2, I believe Moonstruck was another one. Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing.
Yep.
Plus, a good dude up here in New York by the name of Michael Kay. That was his uncle. So.
Oh wow, I never realized that.
Yes. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, both basically coming out of the Bronx. I know Aiello had been in Jersey for a long time, from what I've always remember hearing and reading about. And even had, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it is the case that right in Fort Lee, he had he owned a motel. Aiello's Motel, I believe it is, right when the start of Route 4 westbound, when you're starting on the journey of Route 4, it's like right, it would be right up on the hill. I don't know what's there now because I haven't been in that part of Fort Lee, and I can't begin to tell you how long, but and then again, I try to avoid the heavy-duty traffic too, so, but yeah, Aiello's Motel, I believe it was called too, and I believe Danny was either the owner or co-owner with his brother or something. I'm not sure, one of the family members, but yeah, Michael Kay though. Michael Kay was the beloved nephew.
Oh wow, never realized that. That's really interesting, Ken.
Yep. And Godspeed to Danny.
Absolutely. Well, Ken, once again, can you let everybody know how they can find you on social media?
Definitely. Facebook, Crossing Guard, in parentheses, Ken Moskowitz, in parentheses, Crossing Guard Ken, Skywarren's Father Ken, both on Instagram and on Twitter.
And you also have an awesome Facebook group.
Yes. It's the Phillies, a new era.
Yes.
And I mean, so far I believe it is 150 or 149 people.
Not bad.
I know it may sound a little funny to some, but you know what? Like, it's got yet to gain legs, which I know it will.
Yep,
I'm confident
absolutely.
that it will. To up it to 1,000 to 2,000, and so on and so forth. But it'll get there.
It will. Yep, absolutely. Well, Ken, have a great weekend. Hopefully, we're looking at another Eagles win over the Redskins on Sunday, and we'll be talking more Phillies and Redskins and more with you next Friday afternoon.
Will do. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate it, and have a great weekend.
You too, Ken. And, of course, that was our good friend and contributor, Ken Moskowitz, here on the Sports Skillet live stream every Friday afternoon, emanating from the great studios here at Connecticut School of Broadcasting in Cherry Hill.
Absolutely.
So, right now, what we're going to do is we do it every week. My brother comes up with a great segment called This Week in Sports History. And what he does is he opens up the history books. And the week coming up, he gives you great sporting events that happened in the past on that particular day. So we are going to go to This Week in Sports History and find out the great events that have happened in sports history.
Welcome to This Week in Sports History, sponsored by Wildflowers Restaurant. I am Jeff Selner. Let's dive right into the history books. On December 17th in 1933, the NFL started keeping official statistics as the Chicago Bears defeated the New York Giants 23-21 in the championship game. The game was played at Wrigley Field with 25,000 fans in attendance. Chicago scored the winning touchdown with less than 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. This was the first scheduled championship game of the National Football League since its founding in 1920. On December 18th in 1949, the Philadelphia Eagles defeated the Los Angeles Rams 14-0 in the NFL championship game. The game was played at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum in LA with 22,245 fans attending the game. This championship game is best remembered by the driving rainstorm that caused the field to become a mud pit. Running back Steve Van Buren rushed for 196 yards on 36 carries, and the Eagles defense held LA to just 21 yards on the ground. This game also marked the first NFL game to be broadcast on television. On December 19th in 1976, a Piper Cherokee plane crashed into the Baltimore Memorial Stadium's upper deck, injuring the pilot and 3 others 10 minutes after the Baltimore Colts lost 40-14 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Amazingly, no one was seriously hurt. In February of 1977, 33-year-old pilot Donald Crodner was found guilty on 2 charges of malicious destruction of property and 1 charge of reckless flying. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison and served 3 months before being released. On December 20th in 1921, the American League voted to return to a best-of-7 World Series format, while the National League voted for a best-of-9. Commissioner Kennesaw Mountain Landis casted the deciding vote for a best-of-7 format, and it has remained in that format to the present day. On December 21st in 1959, Tom Landry became the first head coach of the Dallas Cowboys and would remain head coach for 29 seasons. As coach, Landry would win 2 Super Bowls and coach in 3 others. His career coaching record of 270 wins, 178 losses, and 6 ties would earn him a spot in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1990. On December 22nd in 1894, the United States Golf Association was formed. The founding of the USGA marked the formal organization of American golf, establishing a centralized body to write the rules, conduct national championships, and establish a national system of handicapping. The USGA also plays a central role as a games historian, collecting, displaying, and preserving memorabilia at its museum in New Jersey. On December 23rd in 1972, the Immaculate Reception takes place in a game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Oakland Raiders as the Steelers turned a 7-6 defeat into a 13-7 victory with a last-second touchdown reception. One of the most famous plays in the history of the NFL, it occurred in the AFC Divisional Playoff round. Steelers QB Terry Bradshaw threw a pass attempt to John Fuqua. The ball bounced off the hands of Raiders safety Jack Tatum, and as it fell to the ground, Steelers fullback Franco Harris caught it and ran for the game-winning touchdown. Controversy has surrounded the play, as many contend the ball touched only Fuqua or it hit the ground, either way resulting in an incomplete pass. This marked the beginning of a bitter rivalry between the Steelers and Raiders. Thank you for listening to This Week in Sports History, sponsored by Wildflowers Restaurant. I am Jeff Selner.
And we are back here on the Sports Skillet Radio, a live stream. Just waiting for Jeff Scott to return. So we had a good conversation with Ken Moskowitz just now, and we are getting ready to bring on to the show another contributor to the Sports Skillet live stream. We are talking about Mike Nebbia. Always does a great job. And I believe we have Mike on the line now. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. And yourself?
I'm doing okay. You said you just got back from Christmas card shopping.
Yeah, I had to pick out 3 Christmas cards. One for my parents, one for one of my female friends that's living in Virginia right now, and one for another one of my female friends that's living in New York.
Awesome. Hopefully you got a couple of really good Christmas cards there.
I hope so.
I think they will enjoy it. So let's get right into it. Mike, would you like to talk about the Giants first, or would you like to talk about the Mets?
Giants first.
All right. So
Eli looked pretty good in that game against the Eagles, but that second half is where he was really done in. He wasn't making his passes. He wasn't finding the open man, and he was relying more on his run game than anything else in that second half, and that's where the Giants were really done in.
yeah, I didn't see the run. I think that's one of the things the Eagles tried to zero in on and take away Saquon Barkley and the Giants' run game and make Eli throw the ball if the Giants were going to win that game.
Yeah, they were taking away Saquon Barkley. They were trying to take away Darius Slayton, who had become Eli's new favorite target. And Eli was shorthanded. There was no Evan Ingram. I don't think there was Sterling Shepard in that game. I did not see much of Shepard. I did not see much of Golden Tate.
Exactly. And I think that
were really shorthanded. Their defense wasn't doing well. And I just saw earlier today that they released Janoris Jenkins for making an inappropriate comment to a fan over Twitter.
Exactly. I saw that too. That's going to be a loss for the. And then he tweeted, he went on social media and I think he tweeted thank you or something like that. Like he was overjoyed at the Giants releasing him. I'm thinking, I don't want this guy on my, I don't want a teammate like that on my team. A team, somebody who's going to be joyful at getting released from the team that he's currently on. I don't want that as a teammate. I don't.
That's just too much baggage to handle. And he's got a big attitude problem. He's got to deal with that attitude problem if he wants to get back into the NFL. It's like Antonio Brown meets Odell Beckham Jr., but on the defensive side.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, if he's going to do that, if he's going to make these inappropriate comments on social media, I would rather not have him, as good as he may be football-wise, I would rather not have him as a part of my team. I just don't want it. Okay, that means if things don't go well for you, you're going to give up on this team and you're going to say, thank God or whatever, I've been released and be overjoyed about it. I don't want that on my team.
I wouldn't want that on my team either, I'd be in LA with the Rams, New York Giants, even your Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think they'd want him either.
No.
They need help defensively.
I mean, they do. I mean, the defense has been playing better as of late, but I don't want them reaching out and bringing him in there. As good as he may be football-wise, and he does have...
He's a very good football player. I'll give him that much.
Yeah. But that extra baggage coming in there, what's he got, tweeting during a practice. I can understand players wanting their cell phones near them because they are human. They are people. They do have things beyond football going on in their life. Their wives or girlfriends or whatever may be pregnant, having a baby or whatever.
Or need you to pick up milk after the game. You know how it happens,
Exactly.
Hey, when you win, can you pick up a quart of milk and some bread? We got snow coming tonight.
Jeff Scott jumping in. Jeff, how are you?
Hanging in there, Mike. How you doing?
Oh, got back from Christmas card hunting.
I heard. That's awesome.
So I just don't want Janoris Jenkins on my team, but and yes, the Giants will have to replace him, but
I find it funny. Is the fact that he uses the excuse, it's just part of my culture. I'm sorry. That is the lamest excuse ever.
That's a horrible excuse right there, Mr. Jenkins.
If you grew up in that environment, you obviously had a bad childhood because there's something wrong there.
Exactly.
He obviously had a childhood that would end up on the Maury Show.
There you go. I like it. Yes.
And I hate to admit it, but I've watched the Maury Show. Oh my God, the situations that you see on that.
Worse than Jerry Springer? I mean, that's my era right there.
Just as bad, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I think most of that stuff was made up. I think Maury's kind of more realistic.
Could be.
Yeah, the Jerry Springer Show is rigged. It's rigged as wrestling.
Yep, just like Dr. Phil. All right.
Well, I don't know about Dr. Phil being rigged.
Dr. Phil is an Oprah alum, and have you ever seen Oprah's show?
No, because I have morals.
Oprah, first female self-made billionaire. She just loves to give, okay? She's a giver.
If she wants to give, she can give some to me. I need to fix my house.
Everything to her audience, especially on her Favorite Things episodes.
Yeah, but do you know how much tax they owe on those things? It's like, oh, you get a car, you get a car, you get to sell it because you can't keep it because the taxes are so high. Good luck. Merry Christmas, by the way.
This is like so many times it's not even funny. Anyway.
But yes, so you were disappointed with the Giants' loss on Monday night.
I was disappointed with that second half. Not gonna lie. I'm sure my fellow Giants fans would agree that they were disappointed with that second half against the Eagles, considering how the first half went. 17 first half points. You gotta build on that. You gotta build momentum from those first half points. You were able to hold the Eagles under 10 first half points. And then all of a sudden, you implode like the 2007 New York Mets.
Exactly. You know, I completely agree. The Giants. I mean, I was putting it out on social media. You know, the Eagles looked flat, looked uninspired against the Giants in a game that they absolutely had to have, and it wasn't until the second half, late in the game, that they actually started doing something. They turned to running back Boston Scott, that had just been promoted from the practice squad, and he injected some life into the Eagles. But before Boston Scott started taking over the game, I mean, it was cut back and forth and mostly Giants making plays. In fact, I was waiting for the Giants to make that one killer play to put the Eagles away, but they never ended up doing that.
Yeah, the first half, it was like Eli reversed time. He reversed Father Time. He had beaten Father Time in that first half. In the second half, disappointed. I am disappointed in you, Mr. Eli Manning.
I know. I was actually thinking the Giants were going to come in because here comes Eli. Yeah, he'd been sidelined, but he would come in with like,
and he had a chip on his shoulder. He wanted to go out with a bang, and in that first half, it looked like he was going to do so. He had reversed the hands of time itself. He had beaten Father Time. He had beaten all the odds. Second half, fall flat.
Yeah.
Implode.
It's like, Eli, what happened?
Imploded like Veterans Stadium.
So, it appears now.
Go there.
So it appears now, Mike, that the fate of the head coach, Pat Shurmur, is pretty much locked in now. I would believe that. I think the Giants are going to get rid of Shurmur at the end of the season. Do you agree?
Yeah, get rid of Shurmur and go Jason Garrett.
I don't know. I mean, Shurmur was the one that actually said we need to sideline Eli because he's just too old.
Yeah.
And it's true. And truthfully, yeah, he did great in the first half, but he bombed in the second half. If he can't continue through the game, that should tell you something.
That Eli is old and pretty much done.
They should have had another backup quarterback to take the second half, really, because if Eli can get him ahead, they should have
brought in Loletta in the second half.
Exactly. You know, someone fresh, ready to go. I mean, maybe they pushed Eli too hard.
Loletta under DUI investigation?
Well, if it makes him play better, sure, why not?
Yeah, I mean...
why would you bring in someone with a DUI under...
Because that's under drive-in, not on playing on the field, so, you know.
Still in your criminal record, though.
Yeah, true.
Like, none of these other players have something like that in their past? Come on.
I know Eli doesn't.
Eli does not, no. Now you mentioned bringing in...
Derek Jeter.
That's true, too. Now, you mentioned bringing in Jason Garrett. Would he be your top guy that you would want the Giants to bring in over...
Most definitely.
Really?
Jason Garrett is my top guy.
Really? Over any college coach or maybe any of the other coaches that may be getting...
College coach, Jason Garrett is the one. I think it's time for Garrett to break free of Jerry Jones's constant scrutiny. It's time for him to pick his own steps, implement his own belief system, get away from the Cowboys' beliefs, get away from being the head coach of the so-called America's team. It's time for him to make his own legacy.
Interesting. Now, do you think Gettleman survives? Or do you think, because Gettleman has done a couple of pretty good things as GM of the Giants. Do you think that Giants ownership would go as far as to dismiss Gettleman, or do you think he gets another year to kind of build on everything that he's done so far? He has brought in Darius Slayton. Since Week 10, no player in the league has had more receiving touchdowns than his 4 so far. So he has done that. He brought in 5th-round pick Ryan Connolly. Also, maybe the best player on defense before tearing his ACL. So he has done some good things. Do you think he can survive for another year, or do you think the Giants just clean house and get rid of Gettleman as well?
I think Gettleman survives. He's done some good things for the franchise. And I actually wouldn't put it past him if he goes Ron Rivera, considering their past in Carolina.
That's what I was thinking, too. Because Ron Rivera is
currently my number 2 pick for head coach. My number 3 would be Urban Meyer.
Now, that's an interesting one because I've been hearing Urban Meyer as a possibility for the Dallas Cowboys. Because it looks like they're going to dismiss their head coach as well, especially if they don't come out of this winning the division.
That would sound like a move Jerry Jones would do. If you don't perform under Jerry Jones, you're gone.
Unless your name is Jason Garrett, in which case you've had carte blanche for a while to kind of be head coach of the Cowboys. But I think this is a season where Jerry Jones and Jason Garrett part ways. Unless the Cowboys go on a deep playoff run, make it to maybe the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. That, I think, is the only way Jason Garrett survives. I don't know that, and I'm saying this as an Eagle fan too, I don't know that any team coming out of the NFC East is going to have a deep playoff run this year. So that leads me to believe that Jason Garrett's gone in Dallas. And I've been hearing different names of college coaches associated with the Cowboys as well. One of them being Urban Meyer. And here's the thing. I don't know if that's a good fit or not. I'm just, because here's the thing. An Urban Meyer or one of these top college coaches, they're now making close to what an NFL coach makes. So the NFL doesn't have that. The only real decided advantage that the NFL has over college is the fact that
bigger markets.
Yeah, bigger markets.
You got your Los Angeles, you got your Philadelphia, New York.
Yep.
Atlanta, Miami. You got these big media markets. They have teams. That's the only leverage the NFL has to lure these big coaches.
Well, that and the fact that now being a head coach of a college football team, you're recruiting almost, you don't get any time off anymore because once your season ends, now all of a sudden you have to go out and recruit. You don't get that time, that decompression time anymore. It's like, boom, season's over, recruit. Because all these young college coaches are big recruiters, are really good recruiting these top players and everything like that. So you don't get any time off. Where in the NFL, you do. You do get that little bit of downtime where you can decompress a little bit. So otherwise than that,
time off until April or when you get to the NFL draft, and you gotta work with your GM to find who the best player is for a position that you need.
Yep, absolutely. So, what do you think the Giants do this week, Mike? Do you think they are able to get a win, or do you think they take another L? Because they are battling for a draft pick at this point.
At this point, I see Eli doing well against Miami, but actually I see them winning against Miami. Not gonna lie, I see them winning against Miami. Miami's a down team. They are in a rebuild, as are the Giants, but I think the skill of Eli Manning will return against Ryan Fitzpatrick and the Dolphins. Giants take this one.
And this could be a situation, and this is being billed as Eli's last game in Giant Stadium. That's kind of what they're building it up as, because it looks like the other quarterback is about ready to come back from his high ankle sprain, but they're going to give Eli one last home game as a member of the Giants. So there's a little bit more build to this game on Sunday against the Dolphins.
Yeah, there's a lot more building to this game than any other, because this will be Fan Appreciation Day at MetLife Stadium. More than likely, Eli's final NFL game, if he decides to hang it up. And I'd like to see him go out with a W.
I think a lot of people would.
He'll have that 500 record. He'll have that Hall of Fame resume. And I think he may just make it to Canton.
I don't know. See, this is the thing now. And I said this a couple of weeks ago. When you're elected into Canton, they look at the full body of work. And now Eli's coming into this game. Before he came in against the Eagles, he had a 500 record. Now all of a sudden, he lost to the Eagles, so his record is under 500, going up against a Miami team that is playing for their head coach. They may be losing, but they're playing for their head coach and offering teams they beat the Eagles a couple of weeks ago. So, they may not have the talent that the Eagles do or maybe the Giants do, but they're still playing hard.
Yeah, Dolphins are still playing hard. They've been playing hard of late. They're playing for their head coach, like the Giants should have been doing, and like the Jets should be doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you're up against a team that's playing for their head coach, you gotta play just as hard, if not harder. And seeing that this may be more than likely Eli's final game at MetLife Stadium, I think he'll have that motivation to go out with a W, keep his 500 record, and build up his Hall of Fame resume one more time.
Gotcha. So, you want to talk a little Mets, Mike?
Yeah, let's get into baseball. We're in that hot stove right now. This is the time for the Mets to take the spotlight now.
Absolutely. And the Mets, Brody Van Wagenen has started to make some moves here. Making some trades. They brought in Rick Porcello on the roster to maybe take the place of Zach Wheeler. What are your thoughts of Porcello?
Well, Porcello was a former Cy Young Award winner in the AL. He won that title in 2013. We got Michael Wacha from the Cardinals. And if Wacha and Porcello can reclaim some of that World Series magic, that playoff magic that they had with their past teams, I think this would be a pitching rotation to fear going forward. We also got Marisnick in a trade with the Astros, gave up 2 low-level prospects for Marisnick. And Marisnick is a speedy defensive outfielder, saved the most defensive runs in the AL last season, and he's a depth piece. He's going to be platooning with Nemo, with Conforto, with Cespedes once he comes back. That's if he comes back and doesn't fall into another ditch. Clumsy Cespedes.
Yep. Now, Brody Van Wagenen has said that he's not looking to add any more bullpen pieces to the mix. The Mets had a 4.99 bullpen ERA last year, ranking 26th in the majors. Do you think they need to add another bullpen piece? Because I would think they would need to shuffle the chairs on that deck with a bullpen ERA that high.
Yeah, they need another bullpen piece. There are some good bullpen arms available, but with the way the Wilpons are right now, I do not see them spending on a bullpen piece, even though they need one desperately.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of curious about. When you need a bullpen piece that bad, and your ERA was that high, I would think that would need to be one of the focuses of your off season, is shuffling the chairs a little bit, maybe getting another reliever or two in there to help out. I mean, that was one of the downfalls of the Mets last season, is the closer position and the setup guys. I would think you would need to shuffle the chairs a little bit. I know you got a somewhat new coaching staff coming in there, giving some fresh eyes on the situation, but still, I would think as a GM, I would want to shuffle the chairs a little bit and bring in some new pieces at least.
Yeah, I would have brought in some new pieces first day of the winter meeting. Talk to some of these free agent relievers, ask them what they want, and give them whatever they want to come to New York. This ownership is not doing that. Brody is not doing that, even though he has tremendous baseball acumen, tremendous business acumen as an agent, and he's bringing in his own people. He's bringing in players that he represents to get that leverage, to get that negotiation leverage. And his tactics, I gotta say, they're okay at best. If he can continue that, and if the coaching staff can get Diaz and Familia back on track, I think this would be a 90-win team.
Well, here I got a quote from Brody Wagner here, Mike. Let's listen to this.
Starting pitching is what our team is built on. We've said this often over the course of the offseason, is that we feel like we have the system in place to help Diaz and Familia return to form.
So he says he has a system in place to help Diaz and Familia return to form, and hopefully for the Mets they do. But I would think I would want to bring in some competition for those guys, just in case they don't. Who's to say that they will? I like Brody Van Wagenen and having confidence that they will do just that, but I just don't know that they will, so I would want to bring in another piece or two to push those two guys, or at least have a backup in place in case those guys are who they were last season.
Agreed. I think I would groom Lugo to be the closer just in case Diaz is who it was last season, the inconsistent closer that he was, in case Familia is as inconsistent as he was. But if Familia gets back to his 2015 form, I'd groom him to be the closer like he was back in 2015. He was almost a sure thing back then.
Yeah, he actually was. He was very good. That's why, it was a good signing at the time for the Mets to go out and grab him. He was
that sure thing. He was that Trevor Hoffman-style closer in 2015.
Yeah, it was a good...
I'm ashamed myself here, but I remember that whenever the Padres brought out Trevor Hoffman, it was game over.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's what, and that's what Edwin Diaz was and everything. So, so I admire Brody for having faith in the two guys, but you can have faith in somebody, but you also want to cover your butt. Yeah, exactly, and make sure that you have a reliable backup just in case this is who they are. Because you got to get the ball, you got to have a reliable closer. Otherwise, everything goes to pot. The team gets runs, gets a lead in the 8th or 9th inning, bring in your setup man or closer, like has happened to the Mets last year, and they blow the game for you, and that can be deflating for the entire team. So I would want to have like a closer or two in waiting, just in case these guys, don't have it figured out.
Yeah, and there are some good relievers still on the market. You got your Brendan Morrow, you got Blevins, Pat Neshek,
Yep.
Joe Smith, Romo, Tony Sipp.
Exactly. You have some good relievers out there. Well, I don't know about Neshek. Coming from the Phillies, I watched him the past couple of years. He's about a one.
Pollard is still out there.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I wouldn't go after Vargas.
No, Vargas to me is, if a team is rebuilding, go out and get him as your fifth starter type. If you're expecting to contend, Vargas is not your fourth or fifth starter.
No, he scared me every time he came up.
Yeah, he's not. He's for a rebuilding team. Holding a spot in their rotation. He's not a guy that I would want to depend on as my fourth or fifth starter. Now, saw him a little bit last year. He was okay, not great. But if I'm contending, I want a better rotation, and that rotation should not have Jason Vargas in there. Even though, like you said, he's still out there. But I would think he would be more for like a rebuilding team.
Agreed. Now, if I was Brody Van Wagenen, which I'm not, but if I was Brody Van Wagenen, I'd talk to Morrow, I'd talk to Joe Smith, Sean Kelly, Blevins about a return to New York, talk to Holland, see what they want. See if they would want to come to New York.
Yep.
And give them whatever they want to have them don the orange and blue in 2020.
There you go. Now,
and do the Wilpons. I'm the GM. I outrank them. I'll give them the money.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. We only wish it does.
I screw over the Wilpons. I screw them.
Unfortunately, you can't.
I do whatever it takes to get these guys to come to New York.
Oh yeah, I would too. If I was in, but unfortunately, a lot of times it boils down to money, and the name on the check still says Wilpon, so he can't sign any checks. The Wilpons have to do it, and that's where the Mets get in trouble. That's why the Mets, at least this year, weren't competitive for any of the big ticket free agents out there. Now, next year and the years coming up, I think they may be. Because of their new owner coming in there. But, at least for this year, the checks are still being signed by the Wilpons.
Yeah, unfortunately, the checks are still being signed by the Wilpons. So, but next year, taking a look at the free agents, we have... Am I looking at these correctly? Am I looking at the 2020 free agents? Who's on for 2020?
Well, I mean, the Mets should be players because they may have that new owner coming in there, and kind of nudging the Wilpons a little bit. As the transaction starts coming more into focus, over the next couple of years.
Snap. Real Muto's coming due in 2020.
Who?
JT Real Muto comes due next winter.
Except if the Phillies re-sign him.
This article is dated November 22nd.
Yes.
Sanders comes due. Marlon Gonzalez comes due. Oh, boy. The 2020, 2021 free agent class looks pretty good.
Could be.
I'd expect the Mets to be players for most, if not all, of these guys.
Well, that's the thing. Mike, we can't say that yet because the thing about because the new owner is not fully going to be in place yet, so we don't know how much of a financial influence.
How much of a financial input he'll have.
Yes.
I'd like to see them go for Springer. I'd like to see them go for Betts. One can only hope, right?
Again, I don't know. Again, we don't know. You can't say. The thing about the Mets that we have to realize is until we're told differently, the Mets are going to be bottom feeders when it comes to free agents. They just are. They're not going to be players until we're told differently. So you can't. If you're a Mets fan, you can't look at the top tier free agents yet. until we're told differently. Because as long as the Wilpons are signing the checks, they will be bottom feeders like they are this year. That's just the reality of the Mets.
Priority one is going to be extending Syndergaard. That's priority one. No question.
Again, who's signing? I would think that would be priority one, but who's signing the checks? And it should be. But again, who's signing the checks? The Wilpons. Therefore, it's not going to be. Because re-signing him would require, you see what some of the starting pitchers are getting nowadays, Zach Wheeler, etc. It's going
to overpaid.
Doesn't matter whether you think they're overpaid or not, but you look at what Wheeler's getting, you look at what Strasburg's getting, you look at what Cole got, what Bumgarner's probably going to get. That's the area that the Mets are going to be playing in when they start extending some of these pitchers' contracts. So as long as Wilpon is the name on the check, he will not be re-signed.
And two of those four that you mentioned, Boris. I cannot stand Scott Boris for the life of me.
Well, he's a very shrewd negotiator, I will say that. Gets his clients top money. But here's the thing. The Mets, whether it comes to extending a contract or not, the Mets are bottom feeders. So you see what some of these pitchers are getting. That's what Syndergaard's going to ask for. Anybody else on the Mets pitching staff, that's what, the top stars on the Mets, that's what you start at now. That's what Syndergaard is going to ask for. $200 million. That's what he's going to ask for. And if your Wilpons are signing the check, he's walking away. He's going to be pitching elsewhere.
Wilpons are going to get screwed. This new owner has to be somewhat in place by the time Syndergaard comes to his walk year.
Any of the top players on the Mets, the fact that the new owner has to be footing the bill. His name has to be on the checks. As soon as his name comes on the checking account, the Mets are going to be taken off like you wouldn't believe. He's going to,
There's going to be sevens in every Mets fan's eyes once Cohen starts signing checks.
Exactly. But until that time, any contract that's coming up, at the end of next year or maybe the following year, if the Wilpons are still footing the bill, those guys are walking away. The Mets are not going to compete for them. That's the reality of the Wilpons owning the Mets. When Cohen gets in charge of that and gets his hands on the account, and okay, now I'm in charge and I'm writing the checks and I'm saying we've got
the show right now. You hear? So I'm going to do whatever it takes to get these guys to New York.
Mm-hmm. Or re-sign my own guys. I can, I'm willing to spend $200 million.
I have $9.2 billion in my account.
Exactly. And I'm willing to spend it, whether Wilpons or not. So as long as
I have money and I'm willing to spend whatever it takes.
Yep.
Screw the rules. I have money.
Exactly, and that's going to be the reality of the Mets. But the reality of the Mets is also how many players are they not going to sign, or how many players are going to walk away up and until he gets control of that. That's going to be key.
Let's see. One possible that may walk away, that would probably be Cespedes, considering his injury history.
Probably. That could.
I do not want that liability on my squad.
That could be. This could be Cespedes' last season on the Mets. And you got to look at the pitching staff. Anybody whose contract comes up within the next year or so would be an interesting sign for the Mets, depending on who has control of the checking account. If
Amelia comes due in 2021, Conforto comes due in 2021, Syndergaard comes due in 2021, and Syndergaard should be priority one, but with the Wilpons, I'm not sure.
No, Wilpons, I'm sure. They're not going to compete for a $200 million contract. They're not gonna. They don't fork over that money.
The Wilpons, okay? I'm just iffy with that.
You know, that's just the reality of the situation. As long as the Wilpons are signing a check, you know, if the contract comes up, they're not going to re-sign them. They're just not.
Cohen to have at least 50% control by 2021.
Hopefully for the Mets, the savior comes through. So, Mike,
Great to play the Superman theme song by John Williams come next winter or winter 2021.
Yes, he will definitely be the Mets savior. So, Mike, would you like to pick some NFL games?
Hang on, let me pull up the NFL website.
Okay.
Prepared.
You got it.
Got that on standby.
Okay, very cool.
Come on, stupid 7-year-old laptop.
Well, I'll give you the
game.
game.
Need an upgrade, you know?
Well, I'll give you the games, Mike.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right. So we've got the Houston Texans, who are 8-5, taking on the Tennessee Titans, who are also 8-5 in Tennessee. Who do you like in that one?
I gotta tighten up. Tennessee.
I have that one as well. You already said the Giants are going to beat the Dolphins. How about the Denver Broncos, who are 5-8, going into Kansas City to face the Chiefs, who are 9-4?
I gotta go with the Chiefs. I'm hoping Mahomes has a big game against Denver. I need him to have a big game. I'm in my fantasy football playoffs right now.
And I'm guessing you have Mahomes as your fantasy quarterback.
Yep. I'm starting him this week.
Awesome. I think that is a very wise decision. This could be a very sneaky game. The Chicago Bears, who are 7-6, are going into Green Bay to face the Packers, who are 10-3. But Chicago Bears are going to be fighting for their playoff lives in this one. Who do you think comes out on top?
Chicago, I'm going Green Bay. Another quarterback I'm starting in my fantasy league, Aaron Rodgers.
Gotcha. Let's see. We have the, let me skip ahead here. Minnesota Vikings, who are 9-4, taking on the LA Chargers, who are 5-8. Can the Chargers get the upset?
Sound the horn. Minnesota takes it.
I believe you are correct. There you go. I love it. We have the Cleveland Browns, who are 6-7, taking on the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona, 3-9-1. Who do you think comes out on top in this one?
Well, the drama with Odell Beckham Jr. wanting out of Cleveland could prove to be a distraction for the Browns, but not big enough to throw off their game. I'm going to go with the Browns in this one.
I think you may be correct. Let's see who. I actually went with the Arizona Cardinals in this one to try and pull an upset just because of the Odell wanting out of Cleveland. We have the LA Rams, who are 8-5, taking on the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas, 6-7. Who do you like in this one?
LA is going to put Jason Garrett on the hot seat with a win over Dallas.
I think Jason's seat is not only hot, I think it's burning. I think it's in flames right now. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think this storm may be too much for Jason Garrett to weather. LA takes it.
I believe you are correct, and the seat only.
Let's play "I Love LA" by Randy Newman.
There you go.
I did the Toy Story soundtrack, by the way.
That's right. Very true.
Favorite Pixar film, by the way.
Very good. So we have the Sunday night at 8:20. We have the Buffalo Bills, 9-4, going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are now 8-5 and are kind of been low key this year. They haven't been as flamboyant, but are starting to get the job done. Who do you like in this one?
Pittsburgh and Buffalo have been flying under the radar this year. I did not expect Buffalo to do well. I've been telling you this all season. Pittsburgh, I expected them to contend. I expected them to be at least a 10-win team at this point. They've not been up to snuff. I'm going to go Buffalo.
I went with Buffalo as well. And that will create a really interesting matchup coming up because if Buffalo continues to win, they could win that AFC Eastern division. That's still in play for them. Because the New England Patriots have 3 losses now. New England's most likely going to win this weekend, but
against Cincinnati, of course, they're going to win.
Yeah.
1-12. Their coach is pretty much done.
Yeah, Cincinnati's rebuilding. They have a ways to go. So I think the Patriots.
Good players, AJ Green.
Yeah, Cincinnati's not a very good team at all at this point. Going for the number 1 draft pick, probably going to get it. Probably draft a quarterback coming out of college. So, so Cincinnati's just in a complete rebuild. So New England's going to win this week, but they still have 3 losses, just a game ahead of the Buffalo Bills. So, and they play each other coming up. So that's going to be an interesting thing.
Next week or the week after they play each other.
Yeah.
So that's going to set up an interesting matchup where it's winner takes AFC East.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and New England hasn't been looking good. I don't know
I think we're at 12-4 now.
Maybe. Could be. And
this is more likely, considering that Buffalo matchup is on the horizon.
Yep. That's going to be big. Buffalo could topple them off of the AFC, make the Patriots a wild card team, essentially. That would be...
A wild card team in the same sentence?
It could happen.
Are we living in the Twilight Zone?
We may be. Buffalo comes out and they start winning out. I said that they still had, last week on the 920 show, and I think here as well, I said that Buffalo had the inside track for the number 1 overall seed. Now they have the inside track for winning the division. If they go out and they win out and they beat New England, they could wind up winning the division. So, who knows what happens there.
Last game we have Indy and New Orleans. The Monday 8:15.
Yep. Is that Buffalo or is that New England?
Oh.
What was that?
I was looking at the last game of the upcoming NFL week. Indy and New Orleans, the Monday night matchup.
Gotcha. And who do you have in that one?
This is going to be a tough call for me to make because one of my friends is a Colts fan. I am going to go with the Colts to pull the upset.
Gotcha. Let's see. That would be interesting. I could, maybe see that if the Colts can get something going offensively. I obviously, I like their head coach and everything. I think, they're putting together a good system. I just don't know right now if they have enough in place to take over a hot New Orleans Saints team who I know they're coming off a loss last Sunday, but, I still think New Orleans is going to be able to pull this one out over the Colts on Monday night. I think the Colts are coming there. They're just not quite there yet. They got to get a few more pieces.
They're just not quite to the level that they were during Peyton Manning's tenure, and especially during Andrew Luck's tenure.
Yeah.
The Luck retirement set them back about 3 years.
Yeah,
Brissett is holding his own.
Yeah. I like some of the pieces that they have in place. I just think that they got to get a little bit more going and give Frank Reich a little bit more to work with, and then they can compete with the Titans and the Texans in their division.
Yeah, I originally had them at 2-14 in my NFL preview after the Luck retirement. Now I have them at either 7-9 or 8-8.
Gotcha. Well, they could go far if they could beat the Saints on Monday night. You know, definitely.
It's a possibility that they could if they can get something going against the Saints defense.
Yeah, that's going to be key for the Monday night matchup. So, Mike, any last words from you for this week?
Any last words from me for this week?
Yep.
Well, I just hope the Giants pull it out against Miami. I'm none too sure, considering how hot Miami has been playing for their head coach. Also, none too sure about the Mets' chances in free agency in the years to come as Marty Cohen transitions into being the new owner. But I'd like to see where things go over the next few years in Flushing as far as the Mets are concerned.
Gotcha. Oh, and one other game I didn't get your opinion on. Do the Eagles pull it out over the Washington Redskins this week, 1 o'clock on Sunday?
And it is a Fox game, if I am not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Eagles need this game against a brutal Washington team that has not played up to expectations, at least for me. I expected them to be 6-10 or 7-9. They are not playing up to snuff. I'm picking the Eagles.
Okay. And then that'll set up a really interesting matchup next Sunday at the Link when the Cowboys come in there. So that should set up a really good matchup, and we'll.
The winner would pick the NFC East.
Yes. So we'll talk about that next week. And Mike, once again, we love having you on every week, and wish all the best to you and your family. And hope you guys have a great weekend. And you got any plans this weekend, Mike?
Not really.
Okay.
Just fill out Christmas cards, right?
Exactly. Make sure the Christmas cards get sent.
Well, you don't have to sign them. Just stamp your name, throw them in the mail.
Jeez. What will we do with you?
No, you want to make them personal and everything. You want to,
Thank you very much.
Yes, you want to sign it. You want to, maybe even put a little note in there or something.
Just get some lipstick, give them a little kiss, and be like, "Here you go, my love to you." There you go.
Well, I know that's what you do to your Christmas cards, Jeff.
Well, you've never complained yet, so here you go.
Embarrassed by my own sports skills colleagues.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yes. All right, Mike. Have a great.
Peter Parker now.
All right, Mike. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you again next Friday.
Have a great week, and I can't wait to get back on the radio. I hope.
I hope so too. All right. Have a great weekend, Mike.
You too.
Okay.
Catch you next Friday.
Yep. Of course, that was Mike Nebbia. You can check out all his work at sportsskilletradio.com. And it's always great talking to Mike every Friday.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's always fun.
He is. He brings the energy and the New York sporting element into our show.
Exactly. And if you're still listening, make sure I'll give you my address for the Christmas card this year. So.
I don't know that you're getting one from Mike.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I know I'm not. Of course, now I probably will. Watch.
Well, there you go.
Good times.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with that, I think we basically covered soup to nuts, everything that's been going on within the NFL. Actually, there is one thing that we haven't touched base on within the NFL circles.
Well, let's see if you're on the same page I am.
And that is a recent indictment that came down yesterday.
Oh, okay. That's two things I'm talking
Okay. From the Department of Justice and former Eagle Correll Buckhalter, who was a previous guest on our show on Fox Sports Radio 920 The Jersey, came down, as well as some other players got nabbed in a scam from the NFL healthcare system.
Insurance fraud.
Yeah, insurance fraud. Yes. So they've got to go before the judge, and they've been brought in and indicted and everything. I think Joe Horn was part of that as well.
Yeah, some players actually turned themselves in willingly, and actually, this is the thing. I'm going to blank on his first name, but I just remember POTUS from the Redskins.
Clinton Portis.
Thank you. He turned himself in willingly, and he actually told his lawyers that he was surprised because he's like, I didn't know this was illegal. I'm like, really? That's what he said? I'm sorry, you're giving fake statements for money. How is that not illegal?
Yeah, it's 10 former players that were indicted, including Clinton Portis from the former Washington Redskins, Correll Buckhalter from the Philadelphia Eagles, used to be a
Carlos
running back.
Rogers.
Yep.
One of them. Okay. And then the written leaders, they were saying it's Robert McKeon and Corin Buckhalter.
Correll.
Him too.
Yes.
Like they gave all these false statements. I'm like, huh? And fake doctor's notes and everything. I'm like, wow. Talk about like sitting down and saying, what can we do to get money?
Yeah. And your former NFL players, and that's one of the things, I know the NFL contracts, a lot of them aren't guaranteed within the NFL, but if you manage but you're still getting paid like a couple of $1 million, or a couple of $100,000 or whatever. So you should be able to manage your money correctly.
Exactly. Do you really have to do insurance fraud? That's what kind of gets me. And then you start getting wrapped up in it and everything, but you know what you're getting into, I mean, unless a lot of these guys really didn't know and they're just using their names to get money and doing the insurance fraud. Like, I mean, the two main guys could be like, let's just put all this stuff together. We'll make fake accounts and we'll get all this money back, but we won't tell them. And then that's why all these players are getting in trouble. That's one scenario.
Exactly.
But after hearing what Carlton said,
Correll
said, or not Corell, POTUS.
Clinton Portis.
Yeah, Clinton POTUS. What he said, Corell, Clinton, too many names all at once. It's a big conspiracy. But what POTUS had said, like, I didn't know it was illegal. That tells me, like, yeah, that means you knew.
Yeah.
So it's like, really? Why would you say that? You're incriminating yourself. Shut up.
I agree. Completely and totally agree.
Exactly.
And, we'll wait and see what happens as more of the facts of this case come out. You are innocent until proven guilty. So,
next thing you know, Epstein didn't kill himself. We'll find that out, too.
Exactly.
Like, oh, my God.
Exactly. So, again, hopefully it's not as bad as what they're making it out to be, but it looks like it's going to be a while for them.
Well, it was supposedly near $4 million. I think it's bad.
Yeah. But right now what we're going to do is take a short commercial break. We'll come back and maybe talk a little pro wrestling on the other side. So we will be back right after this commercial break.
You're listening to the Sports Skillet Radio Show, cooking up all the hot takes. Jump in and join us at 609-919-9200. Download our app at sportsskilletradio.com. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube by searching for Sports Skillet. And remember to show us some love. Like, follow, and share.
Have you ever fantasized about playing against a football great? Do you think you have the skills to beat a Hall of Fame quarterback? Well, Sports Skillet is offering a unique opportunity for you. Go up against the legendary Joe Montana. Enter by joining our Pick'em League. Follow us on the Sports Skillet Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and we will send you the link to battle the former 49ers quarterback and receive $2,000 if you come out on top. Remember to tune into the Sports Skillet live stream every Friday afternoon and every Sunday on Fox Sports Radio 920 The Jersey. And check us out on sportsskilletradio.com. Download our app and take us on the go.
Remember the TV show Cheers, where everybody knows your name? Never been there. But every time I walk into Wildflowers restaurant on Pennington Circle, I feel at home and that I belong. Friday night, I headed over to Wildflowers, and even though it was packed, I easily found a seat at the bar and got cozy with 17 TVs. Baseball, golf, entertainment TV, you name it, including all NFL games. The bartender Dave suggested I order the Buffalo Wing Sampler, and you could tell he was a fervent fan. But reviews on Wildflowers Inn Restaurant Facebook page demanded I try the garbage truck pizza, and Kelly had just arrived and promised to help me dig in. Then it came. Garbage truck pizza does not live up to its name because it smells amazing and it tastes even better. Freshly sliced peppers and pepperoni, garlic, mushrooms, mozzarella, and meatballs all baked on this incredibly crunchy and warm double crust to hold it all together perfectly. Heaven, especially with one of their 23 beers on tap. I'm a believer. Go to wildflowersinrestaurant.com for more info or just come in. They are conveniently located on the Pennington Circle, right near I-95. I promise you, they will welcome you warmly, feed you well, and perhaps soon even know your name.
You're listening to the Sports Skillet Radio Show, cooking up all the hot takes. Jump in and join us at 609-919-9200. Download our app at sportsskilletradio.com. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube by searching for Sports Skillet. And remember to show us some love. Like, follow, and share.
And we are back here on the Sports Skillet live stream. Thank you so much, everyone, for hanging with us each and every week here on YouTube.
Especially this Friday the 13th, too. Did we mention that?
No, we did not mention it.
So
my favorite day.
Don't go camping, everybody.
My favorite day, because, of course, my name is Jason, so, you know.
That's why I'm saying let's not go camping.
Okay.
You just stay on your side.
Okay, I will stay on this side of the board.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, because of today, I do have some sad news to report.
And what is that?
This just in. Vaughn Johnson, former Saints Pro Bowl linebacker, has passed away at 57.
Sorry to hear that. All our thoughts, prayers, and condolences go out to his friends and family and fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, apparently he's been battling kidney disease and lung failure for the last couple of years, so I guess it finally took its toll.
Apparently, yep. That, very sad news about that. So, again, thoughts, prayers, and condolences go out to his family as they try and maneuver through this. It's always tough to lose a family member, and his friends and his fans as well. Always tough to lose somebody that you're close to.
Exactly, and this just happened, so it's literally just setting in now. So
yeah,
we can understand what they're going through.
Absolutely. So as we turn to pro wrestling, as I said we were going to do before the commercial break, a little bit of news there. I'm liking the new show WWE Backstage. They do it I believe it's Tuesday night at 11 o'clock. And they also started re-airing it right before the NFL games on Thursday night.
Oh.
So I caught it, missed it on Tuesday when it originally aired, but I caught the re-airing last night on Fox Sports, and it's a really good show. I like the fact that they are bringing CM Punk back.
Yeah, is that the one where Stone Cold is the host?
No, that would be the Stone Cold podcast.
Okay, so that's something totally different. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting my in-shows mixed up.
No, this is one with Booker T, and Booker T's on it, and the two girls just lost their names. Are the co-hosts of the show. In fact, let me bring it up. WWE Backstage. Let's see. Paige is a co-host on it as well, which is really good. She does a good job there. It's a really good show. I like the fact that CM Punk is now a co-host on it as well. Nice. I don't think he's going to be on every week, but he was on this past week, did a great job, and they lift the curtain a little bit and talk more about the storylines and everything going on. Really good show. Really good show to check out. As they do a good job each and every week. And I like the Bray Wyatt storyline that's going on. Yes, I'll get it out. And pivoted over, and now he's shooting with The Miz, coming up for Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, TLC, week from Sunday. I believe it is a week from Sunday, or is it? I want to get the exact date. For TLC, I think it is from Sunday. WWE, TLC. Let me bring that up. WWE, TLC.
That's Tender Love and Care, right?
No, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs.
Oh, yeah, that's totally different. In fact, it's the total opposite.
I believe it is this coming Sunday.
Cool.
Yep. This coming Sunday, it'll be the last pay-per-view of 2019 for the WWE.
Pay-per-view, so I won't be able to watch it. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, or unless you have the WWE Network.
What's your password again, Jay?
So we have the WWE Women's Championship, the Kabuki Warriors, the champions, taking on Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. That should be a pretty good match. I like the Kabuki Warriors as champions. I think they need to hold the belts. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair do not need them. They're big enough names.
Plus, with a name like Kabuki Warriors, they should win. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So I'm going to say the Kabuki Warriors somehow retain the titles. TLC match, Roman Reigns versus King Baron Corbin. I'm going to go with Roman Reigns in that one. Bray Wyatt versus The Miz. I am going to go with Bray Wyatt in that one over The Miz. Yep.
Now watch you be completely wrong and The Miz comes out and,
Yeah, exactly. Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy. They've been building this one up. I am going to go with Aleister Black in that one. Tables match, Rusev versus Bobby Lashley. I think this may be the payoff to that feud, so I'm going to go with Rusev. And then SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, New Day Champions versus the Revival. I would like to see the Revival take back the Tag Team Championships. I really would.
Interesting.
Yep. And the Raw Tag Team Championship match, the Viking Raiders Open Challenge. I'm going to say the Viking Raiders retain their titles. So that would be the current TLC match lineup as we know it today. Okay card. I would say worth probably checking out, Sunday night. Definitely, I would say, should be interesting going forward and should set things up for Raw and SmackDown coming up this week. Of course, we got SmackDown tonight. This will be the lead-in show for TLC, on Sunday night. So, I would say they have some good competition because Buffalo's taking on Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football. So there's your competition there. I'll probably switch back between the two of them.
Yeah, or just DVR one and wait.
Exactly. Or just watch it after the Buffalo game is over.
True. Because remember, you're paying for one and not the other when you think about it.
Well, yeah, paying for because we got the WWE Network, so we're paying for that. So I can watch the Buffalo game and then go back in and watch TLC after the game's over.
Exactly.
So that's probably what I'm going to wind up doing.
Cool.
So we want to wish everybody a very good, happy, and safe weekend coming up. Want to remind everybody to check out our show on Fox Sports Radio 920 The Jersey. Go over to sportsskilletradio.com, download our app so you can hit us up on our 920 show and take us wherever, listen to the show wherever you happen to be.
Just not in the bathroom.
Well, even in the bathroom. If you have,
that's a little weird. It's like,
hey, if you have to go, and whatever, take us.
Just hit pause. We'll be there when you get back.
Well, that's true. There you go. That could work.
Yeah.
We will be. So, again, everybody have an awesome weekend. Hopefully you check us out, as I said, on Fox Sports Radio 920 The Jersey or sportsskilletradio.com Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Again, go in and check us out on our social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and again, here on YouTube. We want to hear from you. Anything you want us to discuss, shout us out on our social media pages, and we'll be right there, and we'll talk about it. Until then, until Sunday morning.
Oh, and remember, 2 more weeks to Christmas.
That's right. Got to get your Christmas shopping done.
Actually, is it? No, it's a week and a half now.
Yes, because it is the 15th today, or the 13th today.
Yes, that's right.
So, got to get your Christmas shopping done.
Yeah, and those Christmas cards filled out.
Exactly. Send them out. Exactly. Send out those Christmas cards. Get them out. We want to hear from you, Yep.
Long lost family you just don't care about. Send them a card. Be like, yeah, we're thinking of you. No, we're not. There you go.
Hey, we always get a ton of Christmas cards. I don't know what, and we send out a bunch too. We're big.
That's probably why, because it's called return to sender. Nope. That's why you keep getting a lot.
Yeah. If people don't update their addresses, you got to send them. You got to send people on your Christmas card list your updated address.
Yeah. Or they're probably getting it going, oh, I don't know who this Jay is, but I'll keep it anyway.
There you go.
It's like that one grandmother that texted the wrong person at Thanksgiving, and then now that person is coming to Thanksgiving dinner 4 years in a row now.
Yeah, that's awesome. You make a new friend.
Exactly. So why not do that with Christmas cards? Just send them to a random person you think you know. Be like, oh, you're not so-and-so? My bad. Merry Christmas anyway.
There you go. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to throw it away or not respond to you, or
blast you on social media. Call the cops.
I don't. It's the Christmas season. You don't call the cops in Christmas season.
Boy, where have you been? If you're not having a good Christmas party and the cops don't show up, it's not a good Christmas party.
Wow.
If Hans does not fall from the Nakatomi Plaza, it's not a good Christmas
party.
Well,
that's true too, because that is a Christmas movie.
Absolutely.
I firmly have always said that. That is a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
Die Hard, we are talking about.
Yeah. And we will discuss that if you guys want to talk about it.
Exactly. We will argue with you about it strenuously, especially me.
Yeah. At least until the 25th. After that, it's back to sports.
Yes. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we will see you back here next Friday afternoon around the 12 o'clock hour, hopefully. Cross our fingers. If not, we will definitely be on Friday afternoon here on the Sports Skillet live stream. Have a great weekend, and be sure to tune in Sunday morning, 11 a.m., Fox Sports Radio 920 The Jersey or sportsskilletradio.com.
Driving around in your car.
Join Sports Skillet.
Just what it feels like. So how do you like it?
So what is it? I'm curious.
You like it like this?
My God, do we love football.
Or like this?
I love the sport of baseball.
And what about this?
You can have a sports show without all the vicious talk.
Simple human decency.
Whatever it is that you like.
Yeah, I like chaos.
We've got it covered.
Right?
It's sports the way you like it.
My friends, you may not know this. It's got everything you want.
Here we go. Local and national sports talk that's fresh, in season, and FDA approved. If it's hot, you'll find it cooking with Jeff, Jay, and Kelly. They don't just stir the pot, they add more flavor than the other guys. Get ready to dig in and taste some Sports Skillet.
Ooh, tastes good.